Data normalization is a database schema design technique to minimize redundancy and dependency of data. It's not good to have redundancy in a database. For example, if you make changes to some data, you'll need to find all the other occurrences or copies of it and update them as well. So you don't want a table with multiple rows having the same data. Normal forms are the rules for creating less redundancy in your database tables, and there's 6 total normal forms numbered 1 through 5, and the third normal form has an improved version called the Boyce-Codd normal form, which removes all dependencies on non-unique columns. And we're going to cover the first 3 normal forms in this video. So the first normal form, also called 1NF, has the following rules for an organized database. You need to define and place the required data items as columns in a table. You cannot have repeating groups of data, and there is one primary key for each table. So before, if you look at the album table, you see that there's 3 rows that have the same exact ID for the primary key. And that's a no-no, so we can't have that. So let's create a separate table called Artist, which just has 1 row for Kanye West with ID of 100. And then, since Kanye West had those 3 albums, College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation, we can put those in a separate table called Album and give a separate ID to each one of those albums. The second normal form should meet all the rules for the first normal form, and there must be no partial dependencies on any of the columns on the primary key. So we need to create links between the 2 tables created from the first normal form in order to make it second normal form. So if you notice on the bottom right hand corner, there's an artist album table which links up the album to the artist. So we know that Kanye West created those album IDs 10, 11, and 12, College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation. So now our database table is in second normal form. And then there's third normal form. So even after putting your table in 2NF, it may still have some redundancy when a non-key column depends on another non-key column. So a table is in third normal form when it's already in second normal form and it has no transitive dependencies for all non-key attributes, which means non-primary fields are dependent on the primary key. You cannot really compare 2NF and 3NF since 3NF is just a more sophisticated version of 2NF. So as you go up, each of these normal forms get more and more strict. And once you reach 3NF, then you should have referential integrity. 3NF applies to non-key columns only, which may allow for occasional redundancy. And if you want your database design to be golden, then you should try to get it in Boyce-Codd normal form, which applies to all columns and eliminates this redundancy rather than just non-key columns. There's also a 4th and 5th normal form which remove additional types of redundancy, but these redundancies are uncommon and of little practical concern, so we're not going to get into those details. So in a nutshell, try to get your database tables to be in third normal form and you should be good. So let's take a look at the tables we have here. So let's say we had an artist table which had 3 artists, Kanye West, Drake, and Cardi B, and we list their ID, name, city, and zip code. So we could have a separate table called location where the zip code is the key and the city where the zip code is located is another column. And that way we don't have to store city and zip both in the same artist table. So ultimately it's a little bit less redundancy. And as you're building database tables, you'll get in the habit of figuring out how to create this normalization in your tables and having less and less redundant tables. It might be helpful to just think about all the different nouns and things that are in your database tables and just think to yourself, hey, could this be a separate table?